The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Hello, and welcome to An Open Door in the Arts. I'm Barb Richer, and I am your host as we travel throughout the Capital District meeting the artists that make our life so enriched. I have a very special guest with me today. I guess so many of them are special, but this gentleman has really enriched our area since 1992, when he came to be our maestro for the Albany Symphony Orchestra. And since that time, he has educated so many of us in the wonderful adventure of modern American music and the appreciation of all of the classics that we so want to hear in this region. And he brings them to us on a regular basis. And I might add, has won for the orchestra so many awards, more ASCAP awards than any other orchestra in the country at this point. And himself, last year, took home a Grammy. So we are thrilled to have Maestro David Allen Miller with us to talk about the Albany Symphony season and some very special programming. I must say he's the only man that I know that can go from wizard to distinguished conductor in one single season.
Hi, Barb. Thank you so much
for
that introduction. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's great to be with you.
You show so many faces to those of us, and I hope a lot of you out there that are regulars at the Albany Symphony. It's astonishing. I watch you with Tiny Tots, where you engage youngsters 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years old, and you make their world magic, and you bring them music that will stay with them and hopefully encourage them throughout their life to be part of the classics. And you do it in the most ridiculous costumes I've ever seen.
I do.
And then you take the stage at a classical symphony, and you're magic. And you continue to teach all of us older folks the magic of music. So,
well, thank you. You know, I actually, as a very young conductor, when I was first starting out, I was the assistant conductor of the Los Angeles Philharmonic and the associate conductor there. And a big part of my role was doing family concerts. Okay. So I figured it was Los Angeles and with Hollywood and the movies and TV. I did very wacky family concerts like I do here. Yes. And I sort of pioneered those wacky concerts. And then I really had a wonderful opportunity to go around the country doing those wacky concerts. And I would dress up as Cowboy Dave or as Michigan Miller or whatever, super orchestra man. But I began to find after about 6 or 7 years of doing this that with other orchestras it was very hard to be taken seriously when I was just David Allen Miller.
Really?
So I actually made a decision. I remember I did a New York Philharmonic young person's concert and decided that was the last one I was going to do outside of Albany for a number of years, and pretty much stopped doing the family concerts outside because I couldn't be taken seriously by other orchestras who sort of, when they looked at me, they always saw me as wearing a funny costume. But what's so wonderful about Albany is that I'm in my 24th season now, in my 23 years here, I've managed to be able to do both. People take me very seriously when I'm on the podium in the evening for the grown-up concerts.
Oh, absolutely.
But we have a ridiculous, wonderful time for the kids' concerts.
Well, I think you've honed the skill, and you might want to consider sharing that magic with people outside of Albany, because you really take on the persona absolutely completely, and that's what the children need. You know, so we're very fortunate that you've decided you can keep that here.
It's a lot of fun, and I'm so happy that I can do all these different myriad kinds of things here, because it keeps my life and the musical life here interesting.
Well, it educates us, and hopefully brings another generation to the Classical Music Hall.
Right.
That we
can
hope. I know we missed your very grand opening, but just to educate our folks out there that I know beautiful gala took place right here. You don't have to go to New York City for beautiful galas.
Right, and we actually had the great Emmanuel Axe as our soloist. I had thought he'd never played with the orchestra, but he reminded me that when he was a very young man, when Julius Hedgie was still the music director, probably 30-some years ago, he did appear once with the Albany Symphony. So this was his triumphant return to open our season in early October, and he played beautifully. He plays all over the world, and you told me before we started taping that you had seen his name in the Cotswolds in England.
In England.
Right
at the time that you were doing the gala here. I happened to be there, and he's going to be performing there in December.
He's on the road constantly, usually playing with the great orchestras of the world. And I must say, we're really excited. We can talk maybe a little later in the program about it, but we're actually bringing 5 of his students to play a special concert with us, special weekend of concerts with us in February of all the Beethoven piano concertos.
How
and
amazing.
It's all with his greatest students, because he's a very impressive teacher. So we had a great season opening and a great first concert, and now we're on to the rest of the season. We have so many exciting things ahead.
Beautiful, beautiful season of concerts.
Yep.
I wanted to, I guess, continue to introduce the audience to the fact that you do so many things for young people and building audiences and building the understanding of the classics. And there are 3 in a row that are coming up that I think really kind of exemplify that, where we could actually get to see you as a wizard.
Yes, that's right. And this is actually I'm actually not, I must confess, even though the publicity picture has me as a wizard,
It does.
I'm actually not the wizard in this show. I'm sorry to disabuse you of this. I'm playing Harry Sonata in this new family concert we're concocting called Harry Sonata and the Baton of Power. I thought it was time to develop some new topical family concerts. So on November 22nd, we're starting our family series Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. at the Palace Theater. And it's all about Harry Sonata waking up one morning and deciding he doesn't want to be a regular wizard. He wants to be a musical wizard, and he wants to use his wand to conduct the orchestra. So it's all about learning how to conduct. But I play Harry Sonata. I don't play Dumbledore.
The wizard,
right.
Dumbledore.
I'm not Dumbledore. In fact,
you make a very good-looking wizard. I like.
Oh well, I appreciate that.
Posters are working.
I hope kids aren't too disappointed.
No.
But I'll have the whole Harry Potter wig, and I hope the little Z on my forehead, and
it will go down in history.
It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun, and it's great because the kids have to help me figure out how to conduct the orchestra, and the Voldemort stand-in Moldavort is forever sabotaging what we're trying to do, and sort of being a mischief maker. So that's November 22nd. That's the beginning of our family series, and that's a great series for kids of all ages, but particularly maybe from about 5 to 12.
Okay.
And I must say that GE Kids in Free, GE has this wonderful program where they basically sponsor certain events around the community, and all the kids get to come free as long as they bring in adults. So we're part of GE Kids in Free, and we so appreciate that. So all the kids who come get to come totally free, and the parents, of course, have to buy tickets. But it's a great family event and really a lot of fun.
And so anybody wanting more information on that can call.
They can call, or they can just go to albanysymphony.com.
On the internet.
Right on the internet, and our whole brochure, our whole season is there, and there are all sorts of ways to buy tickets or find out about concerts or things like that. So
well, the GE Free is such a wonderful thing, and that's the kind of thing that maybe our audience will want to follow up on.
Right, absolutely.
Away.
Well, it just makes it much more affordable for a family to go. We really want to be sure that there's no impediment to people bringing their kids to experience this great thing.
Right.
And I also should say that family series has been sponsored really since its inception for 20-some years by our friends at Price Chopper. So I'm a big Price Chopper booster, and I only shop at Price Chopper, and so they underwrite the series, and GE makes all the tickets for young people free. So it's a great partnership with 2 great companies in our region. And then we go on from that, November 22nd, that's the first family concert, and then just 2 short weeks later, I guess.
It is. It's
is it only 2 weeks? I have to make sure I have my schedule.
I don't know who did your schedule,
December
but it's
6th,
very
right?
close.
Sunday
December
afternoon.
6th.
Again, a Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. is the magic of Christmas, which is one of the things that the orchestra and I just love to do the most, because what that is it's a whole holiday celebration, but we partner with about 5 different youth performing groups in the region, and so the stage is just filled with young people performing, incredible young people. The music studio, Noah Liberty's great after-school music program, partners with us on that, and they do a couple of absolutely incredible theatrical singing, playing Orff instruments, and if you haven't seen it, it's an amazing thing to see. And the Capital District Youth Chorale will be with us as well, about 130 or 40 voices that Diane Warner has. So we have a big youth chorale and a whole group of music studio students, and then we have 2 dance companies companies, an Irish dance company and another dance company. And
that's
so it's really
magnificent.
It's just a great chance for us. It's a huge hug to the community, and to see all the talented young people in our community is so exciting for me and for the orchestra, as well as for our audience. So
well, that's what's so wonderful about the magic of Christmas, is that it does include the talent of so many kids in the area. I'd love to do a survey. I bet a lot of them grew up, or when they were a little bit younger, were coming to the
right. They went to the Tiny Tots, and then they went to the family concerts, and they perform in Magic of Christmas. I have so many families stop me at the Price Chopper supermarket in Slingerlands and say, my kids sang with you at the Magic of Christmas, and we love that. To us, the orchestra really belongs to this whole community,
of course,
and we want to not only share it from a performing perspective, but from a participation perspective as well.
And I think that's very, very important for the listening audience to realize and stop for a minute and think about that these kids from 4 or 5 on, you reach into their lives. You're able to reach into their lives and continue to interest and excite them about music.
And for many of these kids performing on the stage at the Palace Theater with a full symphony orchestra, that's a very exciting thing. And we love it, and they love it, and they work for months to prepare and really rehearse.
A lot of incentive.
Diligently, yeah. So we have a great time on that concert. It's a lot of fun and very celebratory, as the season
suggests. Expects.
Yes, of course. Yes. And then, as if that weren't enough, the following weekend, I think,
on the 19th and 20th.
So maybe it's 2 weeks later. The 19th and 20th, we have our big December subscription concert, and it's 2 concerts at Troy in the Music Hall, Saturday night and Sunday afternoon, and it's a beautiful classical program, the William Tell Overture by Rossini, which is a piece that we really haven't done in my tenure here in full. We've done little bits of it on the family concerts, but to do the whole thing with the beautiful solo, that's a group of 5 solo cellos at the beginning, and then you have the famous dum da dum da 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 da, and also the da 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 da, the English horn solo, and very famous piece. And then another great piece from the repertoire, Schubert's Final Symphony, the C major symphony.
So beautiful.
And in between, the thing I'm most excited about is a brand new piano concerto by one of my absolute favorite composers and friends, Michael Torky, who writes this exciting, rhythmically vital, very almost populist, pop-infused music. It's a piano concerto, but in a very romantic style.
It's a piano concerto or a violin concerto?
It's a piano concerto.
Okay, good.
For the great pianist Joyce Young, who plays frequently with us, and who's a silver medal winner from the Van Cliburn competition. She played with us. She opened our season last year, and it's a piece that Michael wrote specifically for her because she's his favorite pianist, and it's very Rachmaninoff-like, I think, and so very romantic, very beautiful romantic program. And I should say that concert, along with the entire season, that's the weekend just before the birthday of our great guardian angel, Dr. Heinrich Medicus, who's been really a member of our board for many years and a huge patron of the arts. And the whole season actually is the Medicus season. It's dedicated to him. But that's kind of a special weekend because that Schubert Ninth Symphony was a special request of his, and we're going to be celebrating his birthday. And so it's a really festive holiday, immediate pre-holiday concert. So 3 in a row.
It has a family feeling too. Now that you mentioned
Medicus,
it is something very special for him, who is a very, very special part of the
he's celebrating his
Symphony
97th
family.
Birthday on December 24th.
Astonishing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited about all 3 of those concerts. The world premiere, I'm very, very excited about, and the beauty of being in that hall, the Troy Music Hall, is such a wonderful hall generally all year round, but during the holiday season it just takes on a new magic, and I think that this concert in that hall and those 2 performances will be something extremely special if you're looking for something to do extremely special with a special person.
And for those people who have never been to the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall, for your watchers here, for your audience, I hope people know in the region this is one of the greatest rooms for listening to music in the world, and certainly in the country. And when people say, "Oh, you play in the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall," I mean, that's a really legendary hall. Just the fact that it's not that big a room, and it's a very classic shoebox shape, and it's old wood, and for whatever reasons, it's an incredibly gorgeous listening space. So if you haven't heard the sound of the music hall, it's a great chance to hear that.
It is a place, especially when they decorate it for the holidays, that it really does have a very much of a touch of England to it.
Old world. It's got an old world sensibility.
Right. And intimacy, which is very, very nice. It will be beautiful. And I encourage you, if you're looking for something special to do with the family, if you bring your kids to these series of things, they're going to be able to come to grown-up concerts quite comfortably.
And I find these
early
days
on.
people are so sophisticated that by the time they're 12 and 13, they don't want to go to family concerts anymore. They want to go to the grown-up concert. And especially there's so many. I always marvel in our region at how many young people play instruments in school, in the youth orchestra, Empire State Youth Orchestra. We have this great set of youth orchestras in our region. So there's so many kids who are playing, and so for them to actually hear a great professional orchestra, and I have to say that, as I do, that the level of our musicians has just
skyrocketed.
It improves exponentially from year to year, and the orchestra plays really at the level of a great major orchestra. So if people haven't heard it, it's really a chance to hear an orchestra on par with the New York Philharmonic or the Boston Symphony, and it's always a real honor for me, a privilege for me to be able to conduct them because they're just so fantastic.
Well, I think that's a mutual admiration society.
Great
there.
musicians.
I think they appreciate the fact that you're there, whether you're a wizard or whether you're really David Allen, the maestro. So think about that for sure as a great trio for the holidays. Bring them young, bring them as a family, and bring them to the wonderful grown-up classical music of the Albany Symphony Orchestra. But that season doesn't stop there. There's some very exciting things coming up after that.
Keeps on going. We have every month we have a sort of major concert event, and then we have the family concerts sprinkled in, and we have a couple of special events that are going to be coming up in the spring that we're not quite ready to announce, but one film program that's going to be very exciting that is just being put together, and so lots of exciting things. But basically, every month there's some spectacular thing. In January, we have a guest conductor. I'll be out of town.
We do.
Joanne Falletta, a great colleague of mine who's the conductor of the Buffalo Philharmonic. She's doing a gorgeous program of the Strauss Blue Danube waltzes and the Brahms Second Symphony and this great cello tango concerto. So that's in January. In February, we're doing this amazing Beethoven Piano Concerto Festival, which I should talk about in more detail. But and then every month there's something else. In May, we're doing an amazing Mahler Second Symphony, one of the biggest, most ambitious works in the repertoire with a huge chorus. Albany Pro Musical will be with us, two soloists, and that's the Resurrection Symphony, a great symphony of Mahler. And in April, the legendary Evelyn Glennie comes back, and she's the one who won the Grammy with us, and she's playing a new, very exciting pop-infused percussion concerto by Michael Doherty called Dream Machine.
Is this at MPAC?
That's going to be two concerts at, no, that's actually in Troy. That's on our regular season.
Oh, how wonderful.
And then finally in June, we finish the season with our big American Music Festival. But just before I tell you a little bit about the American Music Festival, this February concert is something I'm very excited about because it's a real departure for us. It happens to be all 5 pieces by one dead European, which is already unusual for us. Yeah, we never do a concert entirely of dead Europeans.
And who is that dead
It's a guy called Ludwig van Beethoven. and the idea I had was, since I knew that we were having Emmanuel Axe to start the season, and I knew that Manny Axe is a great teacher and he has a class of piano students at Juilliard, I actually called him up a couple of summers ago and said, can I come over? He summers in the Berkshires. He has a beautiful house in the Berkshires. And he invited me over. We had lunch at his house. It was really nice. And I posited this idea that I wanted to have 5 members of his current class perform the 5 piano concertos of Beethoven on two evenings, 2 performances.
An amazing idea.
And that way you can actually sort of track sort of the whole musical evolution of Beethoven through these 5 works. Through these seminal works. And so he kind of laughed and he said, I don't have 5 students. I have maybe 1 student or 1.5. It turns out that he's so busy, he only retains, he teaches at Juilliard, but he only has 1 student at a time, and then maybe he'll have someone who stops by who has another teacher but gets coaching from him. So we worked out that we would do 5 students of his, but essentially that's almost all the students he's ever had. So some of them have been gone from him for a couple of years, and one of them's with him now, and somebody just comes in the summer, but it's 5 incredible young pianists. A couple who our audience would be familiar with, Orion Weiss, who's one of our favorite pianists, studied for a long time with Mr. Axe, so he'll be on the program playing the 4th concerto. And then this incredible kid who's just turned 20, George Lee, who we had when he was about 13 years old. We were probably one of the first orchestras that featured him.
My gosh.
He just won the silver medal at the Tchaikovsky competition last spring, which is maybe the most famous piano competition or music competition in the world, in Moscow. So he won the silver medal. So now he's traveling all over the world at the age of 20, performing with major orchestras, and we've got him coming to play. I think he's playing playing the first concerto.
I'll bet he went to concerts when he was just a little boy.
He did, and his parents kept
Yes.
him very focused on
Early
his,
on.
on his musical studies. But so 5 gorgeous young men, a young Korean pianist, a young Hungarian pianist, a young a Swiss pianist. So it's 5 of them, and they're all playing one of the concertos. And then on Saturday afternoon, so 3 on Saturday night, and the last 2 on Sunday afternoon. And then on Saturday afternoon, we're doing a whole sonata program of just solo piano works, and each pianist is going to play one of those. So it's like our whole little mid-season Beethoven festival. Really excited about that.
How amazing.
So that should be
what
fun.
What a wonderful idea, and how
It's really
how
neat,
astonishing that it actually worked out. That's
It did.
wonderful.
We got all 5 of them to agree to come, so that's been
Yes.
great. And then we end, as you said, we end the season with our big American Music Festival, as we do every year. This year it's a little bit later. In the past it's been sort of late May, just because we started the season late with Maniacs. We're ending the season a little bit late, sort of early mid-June, the weekend of the 12th, 13th.
Okay. All right.
But that is, for people who haven't experienced that, we do that. It's the one event we do up at that gorgeous new venue in Troy, the MPAC, at Russell Sage, not Russell Sage, at RPI, at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. They have this gorgeous $250 million art center, MPAC, the Experimental Media and Performing Arts Center.
It's astonishing.
It is.
Physical plant.
It is, and it's got actually
do anything.
four theaters in it. A big theater, a smaller theater, and then 2 interesting black boxes. And we'll be using virtually all the spaces, because in addition to doing a big orchestra concert, and our new music ensemble, the Dogs of Desire, will do a concert in the mid-sized hall. Then we're having about 7 or 8 different ensembles, new music ensembles, coming in and doing concerts. The percussion ensemble, and this cool multimedia duo from the West Coast, and a Brazilian sort of jazz band that Clarissa Assad, a friend of ours, has. So lots of different events, and it's kind of this jam-packed 4 or 5 day period where it's just events all day through the day.
Every day.
And you can actually we have a new thing. People can buy a festival pass and just pay one price and get to everything.
And
so
get to everything.
It should be really exciting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and that's just we do readings of new works by young composers, and what's great about it is that invariably for the festival we have 20 or 25 composers, famous composers, less famous composers, young composers hanging out all together, exchanging ideas and listening to each other's music, and so it's a very exciting new music happening.
Absolutely a music happening. I was trying to think of the right kind of word, but I guess music happening, but all that learning and blending that can go on with the younger and the older folks.
And it is great, because there's so much exchange of ideas.
Inspiring.
This year we actually have a sort of loose through theme, which is Songs of the Rolling Earth, sort of a quote from Whitman. But it's because one of the big pieces on the main concert is this fantastic tone poem by Stephen Stuckey, great American composer, called Silent Spring, inspired by the Rachel Carson book that was sort of the beginning of the environmental movement. And it's sort of all about humanity's place in the natural world. So all the concerts feature different pieces inspired by that. In fact, GE has actually come in and they're underwriting a special commission for our Dogs of Desire, the new music ensemble, all about the wind and about harnessing the wind. So very exciting things coming up. Yeah.
How beautiful.
Right.
And this is just kind of, because you're listening right now, this is coming up. And we will have another program on that.
Specifically on the festival.
Perhaps some other folks will join us from Impact, although I just love having David here, but
nice.
We can certainly have other people too, because it's another thing, it's a partnership thing too, that I think we really want to help people understand too, that the arts, we have a magnificent symphony orchestra, we have magnificent venues all around the area, and other amazing talents, but it's often when those partnerships take place and come together that we have very exciting, over-the-top things happen right here in the Capital District that you may not be aware of at all, but really ought to, and this is one of them.
And it's such a culturally rich place, and there's so much going on. And it's funny, at that opening concert we talked about Heinrich Medicus, our beloved guardian angel sponsor. Right. He said a few words from the audience, and he said something about, when I got here 60 years ago, there was nothing going on. It was a very quiet place. And now he said it's like unrecognizable. So it really has changed. And we're so fortunate that we have, as you say, such incredible venues. I go and guest conduct a great deal of the time to other communities, and they're lucky to have one decent space. And many fine cities don't even have a good space for music. They just have some big all-purpose auditorium in the middle of town, and we have these gorgeous, gorgeous venues all over, not just the Palace Theater and the Troy Music Hall and MPAC, but up at Skidmore, this beautiful Zankel Hall and the gorgeous Pequot Hall at the Masry Center at St. Rose, and just all over we have these incredible concert venues for music. We're very, very fortunate.
And there are various sizes, and there are various sort of tones in them. You can almost plan a specific concert for a specific venue,
we in fact
and
do.
Know that you'll be able to find that right venue right here.
We absolutely do. When we design our season, we really design certain bigger, more public concerts for the Palace stage, because that's a big hall with 2,800 seats, and more intimate concerts for Troy, which is about less than half that size, about 1,200 seats.
Or Zankel.
Or Zankel is even smaller, it has 700 seats,
Well, MPAC, just on its own physical plant, bespeaks these modern, forward,
innovation,
huge innovation steps. And so to bring the music there that actually bespeaks that is a perfect
And that's why we love it. And they have a
partnership.
beautiful lobby and a little cafe in the lobby. It has a very European feel.
Does.
So to be able to plunk there for the whole festival is really
very
a
exciting.
great treat.
Very exciting. So just a touch, just a piece of what the symphony's doing. I just got the sign that we have about 5 more minutes, and so we can choose now.
You asked me your burning questions.
Where we want to focus for 5 minutes, my burning questions. In between the wonderful 3 and the wonderful Beethoven and MPAC, there was another mention that you made. And I'm blanking what that was.
Of the Evelyn Glennie concert? Or
That Evelyn Glennie.
Evelyn Glennie, yeah.
We should let folks know that David, the symphony, and Evelyn share in the Grammy.
Right.
You can just brief them a little bit on that,
Dame
and then
Evelyn,
let us know what she's doing when she comes
Dame Evelyn
back.
Glennie is the world's foremost solo percussionist. There aren't too many world-renowned solo percussionists anyway. In fact, what's interesting is that there are 2. We play a great deal with both of them. Colin Currie is also the other most famous international percussionist, and they're both from Scotland, and they both grew up about a half hour away from each other.
Something about Scotland and
must
percussion.
be the water or something,
Wow.
yeah. But Dame Evelyn is this amazing performer. She happens to be profoundly deaf, and she plays barefoot so that she can feel the vibrations. And she's just an incredible performer, almost like a kabuki theater artist, because to see her is as powerful as to hear her. And so she has now performed with us and recorded with us a great deal. The piece that won the Grammy was a piece by John Corigliano that was commissioned by her for her, and it was played by other orchestras, and I had done it in Nashville with her, and I was so excited by it that I said, we have to do it in Albany, and we have to record it. So we found the money, and we got some support from our wonderful Mellon Foundation that has helped us a great deal. Wonderful. And so we made that recording on Naxos, the record label, and won the Grammy for that. And then she came back a couple of years ago and did a Joan Tower recording, which is not yet released, but which will be soon. And this
that
year
was at MPAC.
That was also at MPAC.
Beautiful.
That was an incredible piece.
Beautiful.
And this one that's coming up in April is by Michael Doherty, who's a composer we've been doing the last few years. He wrote a beautiful tuba concerto that was a huge sensation last year with this amazing young solo tubist, Carol Jansch, who played with us. And they're all of his pieces are informed by popular culture. So this piece, Dream Machine, is all about different kinds of things that go fast, cars and trains and such. And it's got all sorts of interesting little percussion involved in it. Wonderful. And I did it actually in Portugal last summer with her, and it's a great piece, and we're so excited to bring it here. So that's on the program, and then some beautiful Brazilian songs by a young composer, Derek Brummel, which we're also recording, and then a Haydn symphony and a beautiful Ravel tone poem, Le Tombeau de Couperin. So that April concert's really special.
Amazing.
It's 2 concerts at Troy, and we're recording, but that's flanked on both sides by the big Mahler Symphony in the Palace, and we're also doing a fabulous, interesting arts program with this young collective of composers, Sleeping Giant, in March. So lots, and then the February is the Beethoven. So lots going on all spring, and everybody can go to the website to albanysymphony.com and scroll down and see all the concerts. And it's just we've had a great year in terms of we already have more subscribers this year than ever in our history. So our subscription numbers just keep going up, which is
up,
very
flying up,
encouraging.
flying up.
And it's a great time for us, and we're so proud to serve this great community.
Well, I don't know anywhere certainly here, or anywhere that I've been blessed to travel or in the city that offers the breadth and depth of experience that you bring to us every season. I mean, and this season just seems even more over the top to me. I don't know why.
Well, we
but
try to keep it fun and interesting and exciting.
Well, it is
yeah.
interesting and fun and educational, and it's amazing. This symphony, this season just is very, very exciting, and I'd like all of you to get out and see it. And I would see you there, and you would see David Allen Miller there, and you might not recognize him because he's got his wizard hat on. But it's wonderful that we have this here, and we need to support it with every bit of our energy because it will be sustaining to ourselves in the end. So thank you so much,
Well,
David Allen.
thank you, Barb. It's always
here.
great to be with you, and thanks for all your friendship and support and help. We
Well,
really
I can't
appreciate
wait
it.
for you to come back again when it's a little closer to impact time, and we'll celebrate that.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being with us, and I'll see you next time on An Open Door to the Arts.